American breaks arm. Hospital bill, $8,500. Australian breaks arm. Hospital bill, $0. $0. And that's just the beginning. Look, I love America. I really do. But after living in both countries for the past 5 years, I've discovered 10 things that Australia just absolutely crushes the United States on. And I'm not talking about small differences. I'm talking it's not even in the same universe levels of better. Some of these might make you angry. Some might make you want to pack your bags tonight. And at least one of them involves coffee that will make you never want to drink Starbucks again. I'm going to show you the data, the receipts, and the real-world impact of 10 systems where Australia looked at how America does things and said, yeah, we're going to do the complete opposite. And before the comments blow up, yes, I know Australia isn't perfect. We'll talk about the trade-offs. But on these 10 specific things, America doesn't even come close. Let's go. Here's what we're covering today, and trust me, you'll want to stay till the end, because number 10 is going to blow your mind. Healthcare. The big one. How democracy actually works. Coffee, yes, really. Beach access for everyone. Worker rights that actually mean something. Gun control that actually works, minimum wage. You can live on university without crushing debt, food standards that protect your retirement, you can actually count on, and I've got real numbers, real stories, and real comparisons for every single one. But first, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Number 1, healthcare. And honestly, this isn't even a competition. The American system. Let me paint you a picture of healthcare in America. You pay $400 to $600 per month for insurance. Then you have a deductible, let's say $3,000. That means you pay everything out of pocket until you hit $3,000. Then insurance starts covering some stuff, but you still have co-pays. Average American family healthcare costs $22,000 per year, including premiums, deductibles, and out-of-pocket expenses. I had a friend in Texas who avoided going to the doctor for chest pains because she was afraid of the bill. Turned out to be a heart condition. By the time she went, it was almost too late. Medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in America. 35,000 families every year. The Australian system, Medicare. 2 words that change everything. You walk into a hospital. You show your Medicare card. You get treated. You walk out. Total cost, $0. Broken bone, $0. Emergency surgery, $0. Cancer treatment, $0. Having a baby, $0. I'm not exaggerating. My mate broke his leg surfing. Ambulance ride, emergency room, surgery, 2 nights in hospital, physical therapy. Total bill, nothing. But here's what Americans don't understand. You're not waiting in lines dying. That's the myth. Emergency care is immediate. Life-threatening conditions are treated instantly. Elective procedures might have a wait, but you can get private insurance for £100 or $150 a month if you want to skip the queue. And that private insurance still has no deductibles and tiny out-of-pocket costs compared to America. The math. American family, $22,000 a year in healthcare costs. Australian family with Medicare, $0. Australian family with private insurance, $1,800 a year. That's a $20,000 difference. Every single year. Over a lifetime, that's $500,000 you're not spending on staying alive. How it's paid for. But the taxes, I hear you screaming. Yes, Australians pay a 2% Medicare levy on their income. On a $60,000 salary, that's $200 a year. In America, you're paying $7,200 plus in premiums alone, plus deductibles. Australia wins by $6,000 plus per year. And here's the kicker. Australian life expectancy is 83.4 years. America, 76.4 years. Australians live 7 years longer and pay way less for healthcare. This isn't even a contest. Australia wins knockout in round 1. Number 2, how democracy actually works. And before you skip this section thinking politics is boring, this affects everything from your coffee to your paycheck. Stay with me. First past the post voting. Winner takes all. You vote for one person, and whoever gets the most votes wins. Sounds simple, right? But here's the problem. It creates a two-party system where you're not voting for someone, you're voting against the person you hate more. Third-party candidates? Forget it. Voting for them wastes your vote. So you get stuck with two choices, both of whom you might dislike, and you pick the lesser evil. And don't even get me started on gerrymandering, the Electoral College, and states where millions of votes essentially don't matter. Voter turnout in US federal elections, 62%, Australia's system, ranked choice voting, also called preferential voting. You rank candidates, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many there are. If your first choice doesn't win, your vote goes to your second choice. Then your third. Your vote always counts. This means you can vote for who you actually want without wasting your vote. Third parties actually have a chance. Politicians have to appeal to more voters, not just their base extremism is reduced, because candidates need broad appeal and voting is mandatory. You must vote or you get fined $20. Australian voter turnout, 96%. The result. Australia has multiple viable political parties. The government actually has to negotiate and compromise. In America, gridlock is the norm. Nothing gets done because two parties dig in and refuse to work together. Australia's system isn't perfect, but at least your vote actually matters, and you can vote for who you truly support. Winner, Australia, and it's not close. Number 3, coffee. And yes, I'm serious. Some of you are thinking, coffee? Really? But hear me out, because this reveals something deeper. America's coffee. America runs on Dunkin'. And Starbucks. And Coffee Bean. Chain coffee shops where a coffee means 2 ounces of milk, pumps of syrup, a shot of espresso somewhere in there, 7 hours, 50. Americans call this coffee. It's a dessert. The average Starbucks barista gets maybe 2 weeks of training, mostly on how to work the register. Australia's coffee. Melbourne is the coffee capital of the world. Fight me. Australian baristas train for months. It's a skilled profession. They understand bean origin and roast profiles, milk texture and temperature, extraction, times and pressure. Latte art isn't just pretty, it indicates properly textured milk. You walk into a random cafe in Melbourne and order a flat white. It's $4.50. And it's better than anything you've had in America. Starbucks tried to open in Australia. They opened 84 stores. 61 of them closed. Australians literally rejected Starbucks because their coffee wasn't good enough. Why this matters? This isn't really about coffee. It's about craftsmanship and standards. Australians refuse to accept mediocre coffee even from a global giant. They demanded quality. American café, in and out in 5 minutes, drinking from a paper cup in your car. Australian café. Sit down, ceramic cup, barista knows your name, community space. It's a difference in how you value quality of life. And honestly, once you've had real Australian coffee, Starbucks tastes like burnt sadness. Winner, Australia, and it's not even close. Number 4, beach access. And this is where American capitalism really shows its ugly side. America's beaches. In America, beaches can be private property. The Hamptons in New York? $1 million homes with private beaches. You can't access them without trespassing. Malibu in California? Celebrities buy beachfront property and make it nearly impossible for regular people to access the beach. Some beaches charge entrance fees, $25 per car, to access what should be public land. Sure, technically the area between high and low tide is public in many states, but if you can't get to it without crossing private property, what's the point? Australia's beaches every single beach is public. By federal law, all beaches in Australia are public property. Nobody can own them. Nobody can restrict access. Billionaire with a $50 million beachfront mansion? The beach in front of his house is yours. Bondi Beach, one of the most famous beaches in the world, is in one of Sydney's wealthiest areas. It's 100% free, open to everyone. Always. There are over 10,000 beaches in Australia. You have access to all of them. The philosophy. This represents a fundamental difference in values. In America, natural resources can be owned, commodified and restricted. In Australia, some things belong to everyone and can never be privatized. Want to surf? Free. Want to swim? Free. Want to watch the sunset over the ocean? Free. No gates. No fees. No members-only signs. The ocean belongs to everyone. Period. Winner, Australia, absolutely. Workplace footage. Number 5, worker rights. And this is where America really starts to look dystopian. America's worker protections. Federal minimum paid vacation days in America, 0. Not a typo. 0. There is no federal law requiring employers to give you any paid vacation. The average American gets 10 days per year, and many don't even use all of them because of workplace culture. Paid maternity leave, not required by federal law. Paid sick leave, not required by federal law. Paid parental leave, not required by federal law. Protection from being fired for being sick. Limited. 55% of Americans don't use all their vacation days because they fear falling behind or being seen as lazy. Americans work an average of 1,791 hours per year. Australia's worker protections. Minimum paid vacation, 4 weeks per year. By law. For everyone. That's 20 days, and that's just the minimum. Many employers offer more. But wait, there's more. 10 days paid sick leave per year, 18 weeks paid parental leave, government funded. Long service leave, extra weeks after 7 to 10 years at a company. Public holidays, 10 to 13 per year, depending on state. Can't be fired while on medical leave. Superannuation, 11.5% employer retirement contribution. Australians work an average of 1,712 hours per year, 80 hours less than Americans. The real-world difference. I'll never forget my first job in Australia. My boss said, "You've got 4 weeks vacation. Use them. Don't even think about coming in." In America, my boss would say, "We offer 2 weeks vacation, but we're busy, so try not to take them both at once." Australian families actually take vacations together. Every year. American families save up for years for one big trip, and even then Dad's answering work emails the whole time. The philosophy. This isn't about laziness. Studies show Australians are just as productive as Americans. It's about believing that humans aren't just economic units. You're a person with a life outside work. You shouldn't have to choose between being present for your newborn baby or paying rent. Winner, Australia. And honestly, America should be embarrassed. Number 6, gun control. And I know this is controversial, but let's just look at the data. The Port Arthur Massacre, April 28, 1996. Port Arthur, Tasmania. A gunman killed 35 people and wounded 23 others. Australia's response was swift and decisive. Within 12 days, Prime Minister John Howard announced a national gun control plan, ban on semi-automatic and automatic rifles, ban on pump-action shotguns, national gun registry, 28-day waiting period, must demonstrate genuine reason for owning a gun, self-defense doesn't count, mandatory gun buyback program. The government bought back 650,000 firearms from citizens, destroyed them. Many Australians were furious. Rural communities protested. Gun advocates predicted disaster. The results, 28 years later, mass shootings in Australia before 1996, 13 in the 18 years prior, mass shootings in Australia after 1996, 0, using the definition of 5+ deaths. Gun homicides dropped by 59%. Gun suicides dropped by 65%. Home invasions did not increase, the big fear. Meanwhile, in America, since 1996, mass shootings, over 2,000, deaths from mass shootings, over 2,500, school shootings, over 400. American children do active shooter drills. They learn to hide in closets. Teachers are trained to barricade doors. Australian children don't even think about this. The concept of a school shooting is foreign. What Australia still has, Australia didn't ban all guns. Farmers still have rifles. Sport shooters still have guns. Hunters still hunt. But you need a license. You need training. You need a legitimate reason. Just like you need a license to drive a car. I've asked dozens of Australians if they feel less free because of gun laws. The answer is always some version of, "Are you kidding? I feel more free because I don't worry about getting shot at the grocery store." The trade-off. Yes, Australia restricted a freedom. The freedom to own certain types of guns without much oversight. But they gained a different freedom. The freedom to send your kids to school without fear. The freedom to go to a concert without looking for exits. Americans live with background anxiety that doesn't exist in Australia. The data doesn't lie. In 2023, USA gun deaths, 48,000 plus, including suicides. Australia gun deaths are 200, adjusted for population. USA, 14.6 per 100,000 people. Australia, 0.8 per 100,000 people. Australia's rate is 18 times lower. I know this makes some Americans angry. I get it. The Second Amendment is sacred to many, but I'm just showing you the data. Australia tried something different, and it worked. You can disagree with their approach, but you can't argue with the results. Winner, Australia, by every measurable metric. Number 7, minimum wage. Or as I like to call it, can you survive on the lowest legal pay? America's minimum wage, federal minimum wage, $7,025 per hour. That's $15,080 per year if you work full-time, before taxes. The average one-bedroom apartment in America, £1,600 month or $19,200 year. You literally cannot afford rent on minimum wage. It's mathematically impossible. And yes, some states have higher minimum wages. California is $16 an hour, New York is $15 an hour, but even those struggle to keep up with cost of living. 40% of minimum wage workers in America work 2 jobs just to survive. Australia's minimum wage, national minimum wage, 23 per hour, AUD. That's about 15 to 50 USD per hour, more than double America's federal minimum. But wait, that's the base rate. Australia also has time and a half for Saturdays, some industries, double time for Sundays, double time and a half for public holidays, work at a café on Sunday. You're making 34 to 85 pounds an hour AUD. Plus, casual workers, part-time, no guaranteed hours, get a 25% loading on top of their hourly rate to compensate for no paid leave. The cost of living adjustment. But Australia is more expensive, you say. Let's do the math. USA, £7.25 hour, acres, 2,080 hours, as £15,080 year, average rent, $19,200 year. You're $4,120 short on rent alone. Australia, 23 hour, con 2,080 hours, equals 48,300 in dance AUD, equals 32,212 pound, USD year average rent, $28,800 year, AUD il $19,200 USD year. You have $13,000 USD left over. Can't survive versus actual living. American minimum wage worker, multiple roommates or lives with family, no savings. One medical emergency from homelessness, relies on food stamps and government assistance. Australian minimum wage worker, can afford their own place, maybe with one roommate, can save money, has health care covered, actually lives, not just survives. The business argument. But businesses will close. Unemployment will skyrocket. Australia, unemployment rate, 3.7%. USA, unemployment rate, 3.9%. Businesses adapted. Prices increased slightly, but not proportionally. Turns out when people earn more, they spend more, and the economy grows. The minimum wage in Australia is a wage you can actually live on. In America, it's a wage that guarantees poverty. Winner, Australia, absolutely. Number 8, university costs. Or, as Americans call it, the debt you'll carry for 30 years. America's university system. Average cost of a 4-year degree in America. Public university, $102,000. Private university, $218,000, average student loan debt, $37,000 per student, total U.S. student loan debt, $1.777 trillion, 43 million Americans have student loan debt. You graduate, get a job making $50,000, and your loan payment is $400 a month for 10 to 20 years. People in their 40s are still paying off undergraduate degrees. Some people can't buy homes because their student debt ruins their debt-to-income ratio. I know a woman who became a teacher, making $45,000 a year with $85,000 in student loans. She'll be paying until she's 50. Australia's university system. Australia has HECS help loans, Higher Education Contribution Scheme, Untitled Project. Here's how it works. Government pays your tuition up front. You pay it back through taxes, only when you earn over $51,550 a year. Repayments are income-based, 1 to 10% of income above threshold, no interest, only indexed to inflation. Debt is forgiven if you never earn enough to repay. Average cost of Australian undergraduate degree, $30,000, £45,000 AUD, $20,000 and $30,000 USD. But you don't pay up front, and if you make $50,000 a year, your repayment is only £75 a month. If you make 40,000 a year, you pay nothing. The real-world impact, American graduate. I can't take that lower-paying job I'm passionate about because I have $400 a month in loan payments. Australian graduate. I'll take the job I love. If it pays less, my loan repayment automatically adjusts. This means Australians can actually choose careers based on passion, not just salary. Teachers, social workers, artists, they're not crushed by debt. What about quality? 7 Australian universities rank in the global top 100. Australia's education system is world-class. You're not sacrificing quality, you're just not sacrificing your financial future. Imagine graduating without crippling debt. Imagine starting your career without $50,000 hanging over your head. That's just normal in Australia. Winner, Australia, and it's honestly heartbreaking that it has to be a competition. Number 9, food standards. Or what's actually in your food. America's food standards. The FDA, Food and Drug Administration, allows over 10,000 food additives. Many of them are banned in other developed countries. High fructose corn syrup in everything. Bread, ketchup, yogurt, crackers. Why? Corn subsidies make it cheaper than real sugar. It's linked to obesity, diabetes, and fatty liver disease. Other additives allowed in USA, banned elsewhere. Potassium bromate, bread, banned in EU, Canada, Australia. BHA and BHT, preservatives, banned in EU, Japan, Australia. RBGH, growth hormone in dairy, banned in EU, Canada, Australia. Brominated vegetable oil, sports drinks, banned in EU, Japan. Azodicarbonamide, yoga mat chemical in bread, banned in EU, Australia. Fruit Loops in America, contains artificial dyes linked to hyperactivity. Fruit Loops in Australia, uses natural colorings. Australia's food standards. Food standards. Australia, New Zealand, FSNZ, has strict regulations. No high fructose corn syrup. Strict limits on artificial colors and preservatives. No growth hormones in dairy or beef. Clearer. Ingredient labeling. Health star ratings on packages. Australian food labels have a health star rating system, 0.5 to 5 stars, so you instantly know if something is healthy. American labels. Good luck deciphering the nutritional information and ingredient list. The health impact USA. Obesity rate, 42.4%, Australia. Obesity rate, 31.3%, both are too high, but Australia's food standards are part of why their rate is lower. Here's something wild. American expats in Australia often say food tastes better. It's not just perception, it's literally made with higher quality ingredients. Australian bread doesn't have yoga mat chemicals. Australian milk doesn't have growth hormones. Australian candy uses natural colors. The philosophy. America's approach. It's allowed unless proven dangerous beyond doubt. Australia's approach. It's banned unless proven safe. One system prioritizes corporate profit. The other prioritizes public health. Winner, Australia, and your body will thank you. Number 10, retirement. And this is the big one that ties everything together. America's retirement system. In America, retirement is your responsibility. 401k plans are optional. Your employer might match contributions, usually 3 to 5%, but you have to save. The average American has $141,542 saved for retirement. Sounds okay, until you realize. Average retirement lasts 20 plus years. Healthcare costs $300,000 plus in retirement. Social Security pays an average of $1,827 a month. 45% of Americans have dollars saved for retirement. They'll rely entirely on Social Security, which wasn't designed to be your only income. Australia's superannuation system, superannuation or super, is mandatory. Your employer must contribute 11.5% of your salary into a retirement account. This is on top of your salary, not taken from it. Make $60,000 a year? Your employer puts $6,900 into your super account. Every single year. You can add more if you want and get tax benefits, but you don't have to. Start working at 25, retire at 65, earning $60,000 a year. With 7% average returns, you'll have $1.2 million in super at retirement. And that's if you never get a raise and never contribute extra. The system protections. Can't be touched until retirement. Preserves your savings. Government co-contributions for low-income earners. Tax advantages on contributions and earnings regulated by government to protect from fraud. Portable. Follows you job to job. The peace of mind. Australians retire with confidence. They know they have money saved because it was automatic. Americans retire with anxiety. 60% say they're worried about running out of money. American at 65. I should have saved more. I'll probably have to work part-time. Australian at 65. I'm comfortable. My super has been growing for 40 years. I can actually enjoy retirement. The employer argument. But employers can't afford 11.5%. Australian businesses adapted. It's been law since 1992, over 30 years. Unemployment didn't spike. Businesses didn't collapse. The economy is strong. Turns out when you don't have elderly people in poverty, society functions better. The bigger picture. This is what separates Australia from America philosophically. Australia said, we're going to make sure our citizens can retire with dignity. We're not leaving it to chance. America said, you're on your own. Good luck. The result. Australians retire with an average of $278,000 in super. Americans retire with an average of $141,000 in saving. Australia's average is literally double. And remember, Australia also has universal health care, so that retirement money goes further because you're not paying for medical care. Winner, Australia, and it's not even remotely close. So there you have it. 10 things Australia does better than America. Healthcare. You don't have to crowdfund democracy where your vote actually matters. Coffee that's actually coffee. Beaches that belong to everyone. Worker rights that treat you like a human. Gun control that stops mass shootings. Minimum wage. You can live on university without life-crushing debt. Food that won't slowly poison you. Retirement you can count on. Now look, I know some of you are mad right now. I get it. Patriotism is strong, and nobody likes hearing their country criticized. But here's the thing. Loving your country means wanting it to be better. The trade-offs. Australia isn't perfect. Here's what it gives up. Higher taxes, but you get healthcare, education, retirement. Lower gross salaries in some fields, but remember the benefits. Smaller country with less global influence. More expensive consumer goods, electronics, clothes. Geographically isolated. Travel to other countries is harder. American flag footage. And America does some things better. Highest salaries in tech, finance, entertainment. More career opportunities and companies. Lower consumer goods prices. More diverse landscapes and climates. Global cultural influence. The real question. The real question isn't, which country is better overall. It's, what kind of society do we want to build? Do we want one where you can go bankrupt from medical bills, or where healthcare is a right? You work until you die, or where retirement is secure? Education creates debt or opportunity. Workers are disposable or valued. These aren't just policy differences. They're philosophical differences about what it means to live in a civilized society. Australia looked at America's systems and said, we can do better. And on these 10 things, they did. That doesn't make Australia perfect. It doesn't make America terrible. But it does mean America could learn something. The challenge. To my American viewers, don't just accept that's how it's always been. Ask why you pay $8,500 for a broken arm when other countries pay zero. Ask why you graduate with $50,000 in debt when other countries make education affordable. Ask why you get 0 guaranteed vacation days when other countries mandate 4 weeks. These aren't radical ideas. They're working right now in Australia and many other developed nations. To my Australian viewers, don't take this for granted. You've got something special. Protect it. Don't let it slip away because of corporate interests or political rhetoric. And maybe, just maybe, appreciate it a little more. Final thought. At the end of the day, both countries have incredible people, beautiful landscapes and opportunities. But on these 10 specific things, Australia is absolutely crushing it. And America? You've got some work to do. Now here's what I need you to do. 1. Drop a comment. Which of these 10 surprised you most? Any I missed? 2. Be honest. Are you Team USA or Team Australia after watching this? 3. Share this video. Especially if you know someone who thinks America does everything best, or someone who thinks Australia is perfect. 4. Subscribe. I drop videos like this every week comparing countries, cities and systems. Next week, why Europeans think Americans are crazy, 10 culture shocks. 5. Hit that notification bell because YouTube's algorithm is weird and I don't want you to miss it. And remember, the point isn't to make you hate your country. It's to show you what's possible. If Australia can do it, so can anyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for keeping an open mind. And I'll see you in the next one.